one of the things I want to say right now is recognizing the land that we're at right now, that this is Mi'kmaq territory, and that we're here because of the treaties and the grace and the friendship that was offered through those treaties. This is something new that a couple of us in council are beginning to do when we speak publicly, is beginning to recognize that. If you go out west, I think anywhere from Winnipeg west, you will hear that at every municipal, I'm not sure, other levels of government probably as well, will speak very clearly about that at the beginning of their time, of stating that and recognizing that. And myself and certainly Wayne Mason are beginning to do that as a recognition, and that's a little bit hard, I got to tell you. It's a little bit, we're not used to that, and what's that about, and how is everybody going to take that into, understanding? But I think the more we begin to do that, and I guess I would invite you as well to connect with the First Nations community here. In our experience with that, they've been very helpful in helping us to talk about the wording around that and how to present that. That's something I think for me is is recognition of compassion, is understanding our history, the relationship to the land, and to all peoples that are here. One of the things I wanted to touch on as well in terms of where do we see sort of compassion breaking out in our community, because it certainly is there, it always has been there, and will continue to come forward. But in particular, in looking at some of the things I've recognized lately, is certainly around the Hope Blooms Garden that has really taken on and been an amazing example of social enterprise and galvanizing that community into understanding the role of youth, and anxious about who we are and the things that we do. But really trying to help us to struggle with that and to hold that. Very concretely, some of the things that we've been doing as well is trying to open up our recreation programs. So for the second year, there are free swim lessons. Any kid in this municipality that wants to learn how to swim will have a free swim lesson to be able to do that. We've advanced on providing low-income bus passes for people in our community, doing a pilot project around that to enable people who are low-income to have reduced bus fares. We're looking quite seriously at the affordable housing initiatives in our community, although we don't necessarily have the main mandated responsibility, understanding that as a municipality we have quite a significant role in ensuring affordable housing. And certainly recently, both from Wayne Mason, who's done this a couple of years, and myself that have done it this year, and just coming off a real high this week of a participatory budgeting process for the capital district funds. So every councillor gets a fairly significant amount of funds, about $94,000, and this year through this process is opening it up to community groups to put out a request, and then having the residents of the district come and vote on that decision to be able to decide. So it's really trying to evolve and engage people in making decisions and understanding who their neighbors are and hearing their stories and making some decisions. And I got to say, the night we had our participatory budget vote in my district on Wednesday night, we had well over 550 people come out in 3 hours and vote. It was awesome. I would say it was awesome. And a lot of people left the door saying, it was really hard. Like, we could only vote for 5 groups, right? So you couldn't stack the vote by only voting for your group, and you had to make choices, but there were only 5 votes. And that, is hard. And in trying to be compassionate, there are, and I think, I'm sure Capital Health and the school board know this, you can't do it all, right? You cannot do it all. And with limited funds and the way this is, how can we hold one another, make decisions, look for other alternatives, but at some point there are, things that we need to do in terms of decision making, and how do we feel about that? How do we feel about that in making those choices and moving forward? So there's lots of, things that are challenging around being compassionate and opening ourselves, and I look forward to this continuing engagement. I think the other thing I would look to say, and I know I alluded to this at the beginning, is that it's not something new, compassion. I mean, compassion all through our history, has been with us, and how we've expressed it in many different places around the world, in many different cultures and religions. But in one place, I think it's going to be really interesting to hear as a municipality how we're going to respond to this, is that in 2017 will be the 100th anniversary of the Halifax explosion. And we've already started to organize, in fact, we'll be advertising this weekend for a committee to help us to begin to commemorate our event. And, you know, one of the things that I hope that we'll be able to do is look back into our history around that and what was the response. And how was compassion expressed from that, and through our history, because I think it's really important that we don't see this only as something new. We have to keep recreating it, because we will always be challenged. What we feel that we're doing compassion to today will be something different in 5 years or 10 years, so we need to continue to challenge ourselves, but to know that historically people have always stood on the side of good, on the side of compassion, on the side of trying to do the right thing. And sometimes when that's very difficult, we need to really hold on to that. So we'll leave you with those words. It's very exciting. It's wonderful to hear what's happening here at the Mount and with the other organizations that are coming on board. And look forward to the continued engagement on behalf of the municipality. And again, Mayor, would really like to be here in person, but he's doing what he needs to do today. So thank you.